Hi everyone, we are just waiting for some more people to join the webinar, so we will start in just 1 or 2 minutes. Apologies for the delay, we had a couple of technical difficulties, but just give us 1 or 2 more minutes, then we will kick off. All right everyone, while we are waiting for some more guests to join the webinar today, I would like to start by thanking everyone for signing up for the 3rd edition of the Virtuzone Academy Q&A. Today we have a very special and exciting edition. We're going to be talking about the benefits of second citizenship for entrepreneurs and all the benefits a second passport can bring to you when you are starting, running and growing your business. We have a very competent and exciting lineup of experts on today's Q&A. We have the General Manager of Next Generation Equity, Janice Williamson. We have the CEO of James and McGinley Limited, Kirtley McGinley. And in a few minutes, we will have the CEO.
On shortly.
Actually, right now on the call, we also have Charmaine Donovan, who is the CEO of the CIU in Antigua and Barbuda. Welcome on the webinar, Charmaine.
Hello, good morning, everyone, or good evening.
Good morning and good evening.
Good morning in our area.
So Janice and myself are in Dubai, and Charmaine and Kirtley are in Antigua. So there's a big time difference, but we're managing. I'm so excited for this edition of the Virtuzone Academy Q&A. We have more and more people joining the webinar. We have gotten lots of questions submitted in advance that we are going to cover throughout the webinar today. I hope we can get through all the questions because there is a lot. It's great to see this appetite for today's topic. So without further ado, I will hand over the mic to each of the panelists today, just so they can briefly introduce themselves. Janice, would you like to introduce yourself first before we kick off?
Sure. Thank you for the introduction, Christian. So I'm Janice Williamson. I've been working for a total of 8 years in the citizenship and residency by investment industry. Across pretty much most of the investment programs that are available. And I am pleased to say that I have been working specifically with the Antigua program ever since it has been open, very closely with some of our partners. Yes, I'm the General Manager of Next Generation Equity, which is now in its 8th year of operation.
Thank you so much for that, Janice. Charmaine, would you like to introduce yourself and the CIU in Antigua and Barbuda?
Sure. I am Charmaine Quinlan Donovan, and I am the CEO of the Citizenship-by-Investment unit. The unit is charged with administering the Citizenship-by-Investment program. I have been with the program since 2013 and have worn many hats since then, but I had this last appointment as a CEO in March 2017, so I've been at the helm now for over 3 years. The Antigua and Barbuda program, as you will find out when we answer the questions that you've posed to us, is the best opportunity for you if you are seeking second citizenship, a safe place to call home, a beautiful paradise to live in. You need not look any further than Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you so much for that, Charmaine. Kirtley, would you like to introduce yourself as well as your company?
Thank you very much, Christian. I'm Kirtley McGinley. I am the CEO of Jameson McGinley. Jameson McGinley is marketing and authorized marketing representative for the Citizenship Investment Program of Antigua and Barbuda. I myself, as part of of Jameson McGinley, I am also a licensed agent, CIP agent in Antigua. So our company handles a number of all of the applications that are coming in. We work particularly closely with Janice and NGE for many years. So Next Generation is our preferred relationship in the United Arab Emirates, and we are here today to support them in all of the questions that have been asked of them and questions that are coming to us from them. So I look forward to answering a number of the questions, if not all, but certainly we'll make the best effort so to do.
Thank you so much, Kirthy, and thanks so much to all of our panelists. My name is Christian Petersen. I am Head of Marketing at Virtuzone and Next Generation Equity, and I will be moderating the discussion today. So we have more than 200 people who have registered today. I see there's more and more entering the Q&A now, so why don't we kick off so we can start answering all the very, very exciting questions that the attendees have been submitting in advance. So Janice, Reshma would like to know, how does a second citizenship help me being an entrepreneur?
Sure, it's a great question, and the reasons in which people are seeking a second citizenship or a second residency, the reasons are continually growing and changing. Specifically, what we're noticing for certain entrepreneurs, specifically in this region, is unfortunately due to their current nationality and passport, they do face multiple challenges. Sometimes their nationality, unfortunately, is flagged, which can cause many restrictions with opening bank accounts, whether it's in their current country of residence or other countries in which they're trying to do business. It can be difficult to transfer funds to other countries. Other reasons can be establishing new company licenses, specifically for entrepreneurs that are looking to register companies, whether it's in a jurisdiction they're currently resident in or new jurisdictions they're looking to expand and move into. Not so much recently, but in the past, it's also caused many restrictions with regards to travel. Certain nationalities find it extremely challenging, if not sometimes near on impossible, in order to get a visit visa to certain countries. Perhaps they have a meeting in the UK in 2 weeks. Sometimes it's not possible to get a visit visa applied for and approved within that amount of time, or their current nationality perhaps can cause restrictions on them gaining a visit visa as well into a lot of the Schengen states. And some of the options that we work with will allow visa-free travel. Pretty much most of the options allow visa-free travel to the UK, Schengen states, and even China and Russia for some of the options also, which is very useful for certain people working in trade. So I would probably say those are the main reasons why entrepreneurs are looking for a second citizenship or residency, and those are the benefits that they receive.
Thank you so much for that, Janice. Charmaine, the next question is for you. It's Jyoti, who would like to know, how is COVID affecting the interest of second citizenship for entrepreneurs?
Well, what we're seeing in Antigua is that we're getting quite a number of inquiries for the Antigua program because persons are monitoring how we've been able to manage the pandemic. And I'm really happy to report that the government moved into action swiftly to implement the necessary protocols to ensure that even though we had some cases in Antigua, some imported cases in Antigua, they were able to isolate the persons and be able to successfully manage, so that today I can proudly say that we are COVID-free. Never mind, we had at one point 96 cases, 96 confirmed cases. So persons, especially from bigger islands where there are quite a number of clusters of persons together, they are looking for places where they can exist and not have to be close to other persons who may be infected and encourage the spread of the disease. So we find that a lot of persons monitoring the way we are managing this pandemic are very interested in the program and have been inquiring as to the best possible route to become a citizen of this program, this country.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. And thank you so much again to everyone who is tuning into today's Q&A. I can see in the chatter on the right-hand side that there's people calling in from Nigeria and from Pakistan. So I'll encourage all of you, please put in the chatter, where are you calling in or where you're listening in from today? So let's see, from which countries around the world you are from. Janice, I have another question for you. It's from Chada. Chada would like to know, will I get all the rights when investing in a second citizenship? So I guess what Chada means is, will I get the same rights as someone who was born with that citizenship?
Sure, it's a great question, and it's important as well whenever choosing one of these options that there is a very big difference between some of the citizenship options and a residency program. A residency program will only allow you residency, which allows you usually to live, work and stay in a particular country. A citizenship is an option where you would receive an actual passport, which is your identification document, along with a citizenship certificate, which technically will give you the same rights as if you were perhaps born in that country. So a citizenship can never be revoked as long as it's been obtained in the right way. And yes, a citizenship will always give you the same rights as if you were born in a particular country, regardless of which country it comes from.
Thank you so much, Janice. I can see people there now posting where they're calling in from. We have a few people from Nigeria, Nepal, South Africa, Lebanon, Pakistan. I'm sure we have some from the UAE as well. So please let us know where you're calling in from. And also do let us know if you have any questions throughout the Q&A today. Please post them in the chatter as well. While a lot of you have already submitted your questions in advance, we will also do whatever we can to answer your questions throughout if you put them in the chatter. So Kerthley, first question for you today. And this is a really good one, I think. It's from Alex. Alex is asking, what are the requirements, or how do you open a company there in Antigua? Is it offshore? What do you need to open a bank account? What kind of taxes will I have? So I guess he's very interested in opening a company in Antigua and would like to know what's the overall process and the benefits and so on.
Thank you, Christian. It's a very good question. In fact, we are finding now more and more people who are requesting citizenship or applying for citizenship. We are getting more and more of this question, which is suggesting that these folks who are applying are interested in the tax regime in Antigua. And it's a very good question. In Antigua and Barbuda, there are no income tax, and there are no taxes on worldwide income. And so once you have a company incorporated here, you can do business along with banking, international banking here in Antigua. So over the period of time that we have been involved, we have done several of these, but more and more we're getting this question coming in. So essentially, you would start with registering your business. We'll have to apply to the intellectual property department, where they can now do a search on the company's name that you would have had to give. You can give up to about 3 names of what you would need, the name of your company that you're proposing, and we will take that through right through with the intellectual property so that you could have your company incorporated in Antigua. And it could either be an offshore company or a local company, whichever one. And then we will then move as well to have a bank account, an international bank account in Antigua, and that as well could be offshore. There are some challenges with opening a local account with the local banks, but we're working on that with several of the banks. In fact, I have a meeting with one of our local bank next 2 weeks to speak, among other things, on this aspect of opening accounts for new citizens under the CIP program. So this is not an issue with us at all. The government of Antigua and Barbuda has welcomed this type of initiative by new citizens coming in, bringing in their new company, an entity of their new company, a satellite of their new company in Antigua. And here at Jameson McGinley, we will be overly happy to work on this and facilitate this particular process.
Thank you so much for that, Kerthley. So lots of benefits of setting up a business in Antigua and Barbuda. Alex, I hope this convinced you to proceed. So thanks so much for that. Charmaine, we have a very direct question from Mirza. Mirza is asking, how much does it cost and how long will the entire process take to get a second citizenship in Antigua?
Well, thank you very much, Christian. Well, there are a number of options that a person can utilize to become a citizen under this program. You have 4 investment options, so it's dependent on the option that the applicant chooses. The National Development Fund option, which is the most affordable and is the most popular, is $100,000 for the investment, and that is a single applicant up to a family of 4. Where you have dependence on your application that causes the application to exceed 5 persons, there is an additional $15,000 for each person over 4. We have the real estate option, and we now have 3 pathways under the real estate option for you to become a citizen. You can choose to invest in a property or unit at $400,000 singly as a single applicant or a family, or you can choose to join with partner with a relative or a business associate, and each of you would make a contribution of $200,000 to a unit that costs $400,000 or more. And the most recent pathway is that we have units that are being developed at a price point of $200,000, and you can on your own outright purchase one of these units. As it relates to the business investment option, if you would like to purchase or interest in a business, or if you'd like to start your own business, as a single applicant, the cost is $1.5 million. If you have a group of persons, the investment amount is then $5 million, with each person contributing $400,000. And then the most recent option is the investment in the University of the West Indies option. It is a one-time contribution, and these funds are being encouraged to help to allay the administrative costs of the University of the West Indies' 4th landed campus in Antigua and Barbuda. Most of you may not know that the University of the West Indies is the premier university in the Caribbean. It is the #1 university in the Caribbean, and it ranks in the top 5 percentiles of worldwide universities. We have in excess of 28,000 universities worldwide, and the University of the West Indies ranks in the top 5%. So you must know it's a really prestigious university. And so this having the 4th landed campus on Antigua and Barbuda is a huge deal for us. It's something that we are very proud of, and we would like to be able to maintain this university for quite some time. Therefore, we are encouraging persons to utilize this new option, where a family of 6, the minimum number of persons who can apply in a family will be 6 at a price point of $150,000. And this is the only option that actually includes the government processing fees. So these are the options that we have available in Antigua and Barbuda.
That's amazing. So a lot to choose from, I would say. Very flexible program.
That is true. I think that when you look at the other programs and their offerings, Antigua by far offers the most diverse of all of the programs.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Charmaine. Next, Kirthley, Richard has a question. He's asking, what countries can you travel to and from if you invest or if you obtain a citizenship from Barbuda? And are there any annual fees after you have invested initially?
Thank you, Christian. Richard, that's a marvelous question. In fact, Richard, we got this question when they sent this question to me. I had asked for one of my staff to go through the list and just to sharpen my response, prepare for me to sharpen my response. And my staff said to me, Mr. McGinley, I want you to answer this particular question because we're getting this awful lot. And they put something together for me, Richard. And I'm going to read it to you because it lends specifically to your question. And I am sure others are going to be listening to it because this is one of the most frequent of questions that is being asked. So it says, Richard, visa-free travel to approximately 150 countries. That's what Antigua and Barbuda has at this particular point, including the UK, Switzerland, the European Union countries, including all 28 Schengen states and most other British Commonwealth countries. It is we offer dual and lifetime citizenship for you and eligible family members. In other words, once the family is approved under the application, the family benefit as well. Whatever the main applicant benefits from. The tax advantages, and we spoke of that a little bit earlier for Antigua and Barbuda, that it has no capital gain or estate taxes. Income generated outside of the country is not taxed. So essentially, only if you have a business in Antigua and the income is derived from that local business, that is where you pay some limited corporate tax. The other thing is we have a minimal residence in Antigua, and we are the only country that has that minimal residency in the first 5 years, that you have to be here for 5 days residency. That is being adjusted as we speak, and I'm sure that Charmaine would want to speak about that a little bit later with respect to the COVID-19 situation that we're undergoing. Lifestyle in Antigua, new citizens can spend as much time in Antigua and Barbuda as they wish. The nation offers a stress-free lifestyle in one of the most comfortable climates in the world. I didn't tell my staff to put that in, but it's quite apt. That's what we do here in Antigua and Barbuda. So I trust Richard and others that are listening that answers the question quite appropriately.
I think it definitely does. So I think it is also safe to say that if you invest in a citizenship from Antigua and Barbuda, it really opens up the world in terms of traveling. But yeah, I think it would take too long if we had to list all the countries, I think. I want to take one of the questions from the audience to switch it up a little bit. Janice, I was thinking for you, Maria, she would like to know what are the benefits or the advantages of applying for an Antigua and Barbuda citizenship against the other Caribbean countries?
Sure. Well, there's many. To be honest, each program does, to be fair, offer different types of benefits. Some of the benefits and one of the reasons why Antigua is one of my preferred program, most people that are looking for a citizenship by investment are actually not looking to relocate. I'm very pleased to say I've been very lucky to visit Antigua, and I'm hoping it's my plan to eventually retire there, perhaps myself. So although there's many people that are looking for a second citizenship for other reasons, such as visa-free travel, easier access to opening bank accounts, company licenses, and so on, it's very useful, especially something we've noticed that's happened with regards to COVID. Many people are thinking perhaps they might eventually be in a situation, whether it's tomorrow, in a month, or in 10 years from now, where they might eventually want to relocate. And I'm pleased to say that Antigua is somewhere with a reasonably strong economy. It has great healthcare facilities, a brand new international airport. It's somewhere where, up until only a few weeks ago, a very old client of mine that applied for the Antigua citizenship program, whom I've now handed over directly to Kirtley, is looking to open a business Antigua and actually retire there. So Antigua is a good option. Number one, it's a citizenship option. You get the citizenship very quickly with only about 3 months after application. It's very strong with regards to visa-free travel, as Kerthley has mentioned. So it gives you access to the UK and all of the many EU and all of the Schengen states. And also, I think it's great to have as a plan B if at some point you might want to relocate. It certainly is, I can tell you firsthand, a great place to be.
I hope I get the chance to go one day.
And Christian, I think that, Janice, you answered that question marvelously. I would just like to add that our standard of education is a similar standard to international standards. We actually have an international school here. The government is very big on literacy. As a result, no child is left without education. It's mandatory for each child to have a basic education up to a secondary level. And as a result of that, we have a 99% literacy rate in Antigua and Barbuda. So if persons are concerned that if they relocate to Antigua, there may be some issues as it relates to their children continuing education. You heard me speak about the UE option and the University of the West Indies landed campus here. And we do have an international school called Island Academy. And we have other private institutions that offer the same and even higher level than you will receive internationally.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. Now we've been going for, sorry,
Christian, let me just add to that. It is a question that comes to us all the time, and it's sort of like never-ending answers. But I want to make the point as it relates to citizenship, particularly for children and their continued education, even tertiary education. I have 3 boys, and all my 3 boys are Antigua and Barbuda citizens. Their continued education was done in the UK. And I believe and I know that as an Antigua and Barbuda citizen, they are not necessarily guaranteed, but by holding an Antigua and Barbuda passport, life was much easier for me to have them enrolled in their higher education in the UK as well. So I want to make that point because Antigua and Barbuda is primarily a family-oriented CIP program, and as such, children are generally on that particular application, and so the opportunity arises not necessarily for them living in Antigua, but by the holders of Antigua and Barbuda passport. Life would be easier for them if they wish to further their education at a higher level in Commonwealth and European countries.
Thank you so much, Kerthley. Now we have been talking for around 29 minutes, so I want to engage the audience as well. I'm launching a poll now that you'll see in the chatter that basically says, would you be more interested in residency or citizenship? So yes, there's lots there's several programs from around the world where you can invest in second citizenship or alternative residency. We have been talking, and will continue to talk about Antigua and Barbuda today. But do let us know, would you be more interested in a residency or a second citizenship? So please let us know your answers. I see lots of answers are already coming in. I'll publish the results very, very shortly. So I want to ask you another question, Charmaine. This is from Anil. Anil is asking, what legal documents are needed to invest in a second citizenship?
Okay. Legal documents, I would say, would be different from the official documents that are required to be submitted to the program. So if we're speaking about legal documents, we'd be speaking about perhaps a divorce decree, an attestation, an affidavit, or some sort of legal document to explain or provide clarity about a case, an ongoing matter, or a case that has been dismissed. As it relates to official documents, if this is what the Anil really wanted to find out, it would be your birth certificate, passport, divorce, marriage certificate or divorce certificate, dependent on the situation, maybe a death certificate, definitely a police certificate, and a national ID. These are the official documents that are required. There are cases where we would require legal document. Another one which comes to mind is if you had a name change and you needed to provide evidence of that name change. Some islands provide, or some countries provide, a deed poll, others provide an affidavit, or in some cases you actually show a newspaper clipping to confirm that your name change has been effected and has been published.
Thank you much, Charmaine. I see lots of responses are coming into the poll. I'll let it run for a few minutes more, and then we will publish the results. Janice, a question from Abdul Basit. He's asking which passport offers the maximum number of countries, in terms of visa-free countries you can travel to, and what is the time frame and financial cost for obtaining that passport? I guess it's a fairly broad question.
Yeah, it's a very broad question. So a couple of things to mention is if he's talking about which passport is currently the strongest, it's actually currently the UAE. The UAE passport currently allows the most amount of countries with visa-free access. With regards to the citizenship by investment programs, the programs that you can invest in, there are some European jurisdictions that carry very high numbers. With the Caribbean countries, to be completely honest with you, the difference is very, very slight. All of them are somewhere around about 150 plus countries. And I think when you're looking for a second citizenship for visa-free travel, my advice wouldn't necessarily to go for the country that has the highest amount of numbers, but more thinking about which countries do you need visa-free access to. I think I mentioned previously in an earlier question that there are some options that will uniquely offer visa-free travel to Russia or perhaps visa-free travel to China. So it's really thinking about which countries you need access to and going from there. But what's important is I would probably say 99% of our customers and our clients are really looking for visa-free access to the UK and Schengen, which the majority of options, I would probably say 80% of the programs we work with do offer this, with Antigua and Barbuda certainly being one of them.
Thank you so much for that, Janice. I hope that answers your question, Abdul Basit. Kirtley, I have a question for you. Can new citizens live and exercise their rights in any island of the Caricom Union, or not just in the country of citizenship?
Yes, to some extent, yes, and to a great extent too. If you know the geography and the political history of the Caribbean islands, we are governed by several treaties amongst ourselves. One particularly could very well be the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, where 8 of the Caribbean islands, and in fact, those 5 countries that are operating the citizenship program, they're part of the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, or OECS. And within that treaty, anyone from either of these countries can travel with limited documentation to any of the countries. I can travel to any of these countries just on my driver's license. And so whether the person is from abroad or not, once you are an Antigua and Barbuda citizen, you can travel to these countries with the indicator or indication that you are an Antigua and Barbuda citizen. To live might be a different situation. But to work there, if you have a specific profession, and you can go to these countries to work as well. So it's not a broad-based thing, but you will be much more accepted and embraced to come into these countries to work or to reside for some time than if you were not an Antigua and Barbuda citizen or a Caribbean citizen.
Thank you, Kirtley. Charmaine, there's a really good question here from Mohammed. He's asking, I've heard that there is a 0 share option available, which makes it cheaper than investing in real estate. Does Antigua and Barbuda have that option as well?
A 0 share option?
Yeah.
So, Christian, what I'd really like for the listeners to understand is that in Antigua and Barbuda, we are running a program of high integrity, and only the official options that are communicated either via memo to the stakeholders and also on our website are the true options that are available under the program. We do not offer financing under this program, and there is no cheaper pathway to any option that we offer. So earlier, I spoke about the 3 different pathways to investing in real estate, either outright purchasing a unit for $400,000, partnering with another family to purchase real estate with each family investing $200,000, or you as a single person, a single family investing in a unit for $200,000. So just wanted to reiterate that the only legitimate offers under this program are the ones that are officially communicated on CIU letterhead to the stakeholders, as well as those that are included on our website.
Thank you so much for highlighting that, Charmaine. So Mohammed, if you receive an offer that's too good to be true, it might
Probably
be because,
is.
Yeah, I think that still holds true, that saying. Kirtley, Jamal, he has 3 questions that I would like to ask you, and I think they're really, really good. His first one is, can your country or second Caribbean nationality protect you if you face any legal problem in another country? So I guess if you obtain a citizenship in Antigua and Barbuda, will you then be protected against legal problems in other countries?
That's a good question. You're right. Well, I travel a lot, Christian. I travel quite a lot, and for many years. And for many years that I travel with my Antigua and Barbuda passport, I feel comfortable, very comfortable as an Antigua and Barbuda citizen, that I would be protected by my country wherever I go if I find myself in any trouble. And we say trouble invertedly. I want to say that this is standard in Antigua. The Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda allows us, not so much because we have a passport of Antigua and Barbuda, but primarily because we are a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, that the government of Antigua and Barbuda gives you the protection because the Constitution says that it is a right. And there is no differentiation of citizenship according to the Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda. There are about 4 parts to citizenship, 5 with the CIP program. But once you are a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, you have an inalienable right to be protected by the government of Antigua and Barbuda under whatever circumstances, wherever you go. And so that's how I can answer that question, because I feel very strongly about it. I walk tall wherever I go, knowing that I am an Antigua and Barbuda citizen and the government of Antigua and Barbuda has my back. And I can say that for any person who becomes a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda by whatever means, including those who become citizens of Antigua and Barbuda through the Citizenship-by-Investment program.
Okay. So that's very...
If I could just add to Kirtley, I share your sentiments in being and your pride in being an Antiguan and Barbudan. Just in case there was a different interpretation to the question in terms of if it is someone could actually apply to Antigua and Barbuda and then rid themselves of any legal issues that they would have had in their home territory. I would just like to, get people to understand that this is a legitimate citizenship by investment program. It is not a pathway to run away from any legal troubles that you are currently in. We are looking for serious investors. We're looking for decent and upstanding citizens. And so if it is that you have a pending court case and you're looking for a quick getaway, Antigua is not your program of choice. So I'd just like to add that other twist to that question, just in case there's a different interpretation.
And Charmaine, if you wouldn't mind me also, please add into that slightly, if that's okay. I maybe get the question that perhaps the question was relating a little bit more to, I'm hoping, a different type of trouble, more for if you're an Antigua and Barbudan citizen and perhaps you've travelled somewhere and there's a situation maybe where you're not well, your visa is expired, you've lost your passport, and you would need some support in these types of situations, and mainly looking for support from certain embassies. So I guess the question is asking kind of globally maybe how many embassies are available, and with it being part of the British Commonwealth, how much support could they get from other countries and other embassies if they're travelling outside of Antigua with an Antiguan and Barbudan passport?
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't look at that spin of it. What I could say is that we have quite a number of diplomatic arrangements with different territories, different countries, and wherever you find yourself, we can get a representative to you. If we do not have a representative office in that particular location, we can ensure that you get representation from another office there, or we can get someone to travel to that particular location to offer you assistance and consular services.
Thank you, Charmaine.
Let me add here as well. A few weeks ago, we had a situation in Morocco where one of our clients, lost some passports, and we contacted the High Commission in the UK, our UK High Commission. And do you know, I wasn't even aware of it to that extent, that there is an OECS office in Morocco. And before you know it, the OECS office, which has an Antiguan who was working in that office as well, before you know it, those passports were retrieved and presented to our clients. And, it just showed you how the system works for us, So yes, I agree with Charmaine. We would be able to find, representation for you as an Antigua and Barbuda citizen, wherever you are in the world. It's a small world these days, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yes. And also, before we forget, let's announce let's show the numbers from the poll that I published before. So we were asking, would you be more interested in a residency or a citizenship? 73% of everyone who answered the poll are interested in citizenship, and 26% in residency. So citizenship by investment seems to be the more popular option tonight. And I will be publishing another poll very, very shortly. But for now, I have uploaded our brochure as well about Antigua and the Barbuda program. So you'll be able to download that from the webinar today. Another question for you, Janice. Mirza, it might be Mirza from before, but Mirza has another question in terms of what's the cheapest way that a spouse and a son of the age of 24 can get second citizenship, and what would be the duration to get it as well?
Sure. The most, I would say, cost-effective option for a family of between 2 to 4 people for a second citizenship or citizenship by investment is actually Antigua and Barbuda. It's if you go for the donation option that was previously mentioned by Charmaine. So it's a great option, and it's a great cost-effective option for a family of between 2 to 4. Works very, very well.
Thank you for that, Janice. Charmaine, I have another question for you that quite relates to the other question we were discussing before around the zero share option. Ahmed, he is asking, I have received an offer from an agent on second citizenship. How do I know if the offer is approved by the relevant authorities?
Okay, great question. As I indicated earlier, all of the formal and available options are listed on our website, www.cip.gov.ag. Also, every option that is available has been communicated to our authorized representatives. Next Generation Equity is one of them, and our licensed agents. So if you are desirous of investing in Antigua and Barbuda, becoming a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, these persons, these authorized agents, should be able to produce for you the information on the CIU letterhead, the official letterhead, so that you can see that this is the available option. If you want to check for yourself, again, the website is www.cip.gov.ag.
Thank you, Charmaine. So yes, that's very important to be aware of, Ahmed. Firstly,
Christian, would you mind if I just added a little bit to that? I think obviously any family or single applicant that is looking to invest in a residency or a citizenship, it's something that's a very big personal decision to make, and it's a substantial investment. Unfortunately, there are certain offers that may be going around that people are not sure if it's legitimate or not. Charmaine has already kindly mentioned many of the programs do have a government website in which you can check exactly what the costs are and the breakdown of what the costs are, what the investment options are. But I think it's also to remember to look at maybe how long the company that's advising you, how long have they been in business? Are they giving you an offer that is maybe on a letterhead? Are they giving you an offer that's coming from an email from a business account? Or are they only perhaps discussing certain options in person on WhatsApp, maybe sending you quotations without their company name attached to it. So always be careful, and perhaps these are some of the things to look for. Thank you, Charmaine.
Yes, and just to add to what you were saying, you just triggered a memory there that all of our authorized agents have a formal and official certificate. So our authorized representatives have a certificate to show that they are authorized representatives, and our licensed agents also have a certificate that's actually signed by the Prime Minister and myself to say that you're a licensed agent. So look out for these things, people. If you are engaging with someone who is purporting to represent the program, ensure that they are duly authorized to do so.
Thank you.
100% agree. Now it's time for another poll. So I'm going to be launching it now, and you should see it in the chatter. So please, to everyone who's on the Q&A now, go and let us know your answer to what are the chances of you relocating in the future. And let us know in the chatter as well if you would like to relocate to Antigua and Barbuda, since we have been talking about all the benefits and how Janice would love to relocate later on, and myself hope to go there. So do let us know your answers. Currently, I would like to return to Jamal, because he had a few more questions besides around legal problems, or if he would face that. He's asking, does the Antigua and Barbuda citizenship guarantee education, health, residency, and admission to European countries easily and without prejudice or questions? So I guess he also wants to know from you, when you have traveled in the past, did you feel like there was any prejudice towards being an Antigua and Barbudan citizen?
Let me answer it this way by giving you an example to what can happen. Just recently, I was traveling to London, and I found myself in the line, the immigration line, behind a person who has just returned from Antigua, having become a new citizen of Antigua and Barbuda through the Citizenship-by-Investment program. And so the gentleman presented his passport, his new passport, no stamp in the passport, just it's the first time the stamp was coming, and he presented that passport to the immigration officer. And the immigration officer looked at it, and the immigration says, "Aha, Antigua and Barbuda, you are a lucky man." How, you know, and he started so glowingly about Antigua and Barbuda, and the poor gentleman was just blushing away. But you know what? He had completed, that gentleman would have completed 5 days in Antigua and got an acclimatization of Antigua and Barbuda for that 5 days. And so he was able to interact, you know, limitedly, of course, and, you know, with the immigration officer. I make that as an example of how the outside world, particularly countries that we have some level of relationship with, political or otherwise, how they view Antigua. And the question generally comes, what is the difference between Antigua and other countries? And, you know, it is the recognition of Antigua and Barbuda that goes a long way, and what they recognize Antigua as, whether it is the political stability, the economic, you know, difference as it relates to other countries within, you know, our neighbors, but these are things, and the terms of it there. And that's how I wanted to say that. That's the difference.
Thanks for that, Kirtley. I want to close the poll now. We were asking, what are the chances of you relocating in the future? And it seems 100% of everyone who have participated in the poll are looking to relocate. That's an amazing number. I hope you consider Antigua as one of the locations.
I think because we're good ambassadors of Antigua and Barbuda, because we live in paradise, you know? We actually live and work in paradise.
And also I will encourage everyone to download the brochure that we have shared in the chat earlier. It has some amazing photos and pictures of Antigua and Barbuda, and I'm sure once you see them, you'll understand why it's an amazing location to relocate to. Okay. I know we're almost out of time, but since we started a little bit late, I want to ask our panelists a couple of more questions before we finish for today. So Charmaine, here's a very good question from one of the attendees today that is asking, what are the benefits of investing in real estate and in business in Antigua and Barbuda?
Okay, that's a very good question. You know, most people choose the Second Citizenship program for mobility, and they look at the most affordable cost, of course, when they're choosing. When you look at the more savvy investors, they're not just looking at citizenship for mobility, but they're looking at it for investment opportunities, as well as the returns that they can make on their investment. So in terms of real estate, many of the units that we have here already participate in rental programs. So you not only have a unit in paradise that you can use as your vacation home, but you can also utilize it to earn rental income. Additionally, you have a business in Antigua and Barbuda. It's an opportunity for you to actually generate significant income, and the tax rate here in Antigua and Barbuda is one of the lowest that you will find as it relates to business. Mr. McGinley has already indicated that we actually do not have personal income tax, but it's hassle-free. Kathleen had already indicated to you how you can register your business here, very easy to operate. And so if you're looking for more than just mobility, Antigua and Barbuda is the place to be as it relates to owning your own property and owning your own business.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. There's a gentleman with the name of Christopher who would like to get in touch later for business opportunities. So Christopher, I'll make sure to connect you with our team and with Charmaine as well. So we will get back to you later on that. Kirthley, there's another good question. There's a lot of good questions today. I know I keep saying it, but there's another good question from Josh. He's asking, once you do become a citizen in Antigua, how easy is it to invest in the country? So perhaps in other businesses or in real estate or other investment opportunities.
It's easier. We generally market the idea that becoming a citizen first and then invest. If you're not going through the real estate option, you can use the NDF, and then once you are a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, you have the time to now look at the various investment opportunities that you wish to look for. And here, we believe in that way because there's a level of confidence that it gives you. Citizenship empowers you. You'll be working with us, through us, and we will be giving you the confidence and the empowerment that as a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda, what you're doing is no different than what we would be doing. How you are looked at within the landscape of your investment sourcing, which, what it is you wish to do, you would be looked at a little bit more embracingly, I find, as a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda. So it's not a difficult proposition at all. On the contrary, I think that it is far easier to do it when you are a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda.
Thanks so much for that, Kathleen. Got a couple of minutes left, and I see a few questions here in the chatter, Charmaine, that I would like to ask you. One of them is there any future plans to open a consulate or embassy in the Middle East? And another one is, do you already have a consulate in Nigeria?
Okay, so we do have several representative offices in the Middle East. We have one in Jordan. We also have a Lebanese ambassador, non-resident ambassador. And we also have a number of ambassadors who are close by and are able to provide consular services. So yes, we do have representation in the Middle East. And could you repeat that second part of the question?
That was if you already have a consulate in Nigeria.
Oh, no, we don't have a consulate in Nigeria right now, but I know that the authorities are in discussion with Nigeria to establish one.
Thank you so much. We just before we finish today, I want to run one last poll, the third and last one. I'm gonna ask everyone, why would you be interested in second citizenship or residency? Is it either for visa-free travel? Is it for future relocation? I mean, we have heard a lot of people want to relocate today. Is it for tax purposes or something else? So do let us know. We will take a couple of more questions, and then we have spent our 1 hour today. Charmaine, there's a question here as well, a very good one from one of the attendees that's asking, is there a pathway for citizenship through your recently announced digital nomad visa?
So thank you for that question. The digital nomad visa is a separate it's a separate program from the citizenship program. It is really the government's response to persons who can work independently of location and who are looking for a safer, more secure place to operate from. So the government is inviting persons to come here and work. So it's a residency component and it's separate and apart from citizenship. In order for you to obtain citizenship, you need to apply under this program under the 4 options that I had described earlier.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Charmaine. I think we have time for the perhaps last question today. Let me see, which one should we pick out? I think there's another quite detailed one here, again for you, Charmaine. I'm putting you on the spot today. Hope you're okay with that.
That's okay.
Can you explain why an applicant would choose the UWI option versus the NDF?
So it's really just a matter of dollars and cents, as well as your own philanthropic interest. The National Development Fund is just as a simple process as the UE. The difference is with the National Development Fund, you can be a single applicant and you can also have any number of dependents, qualifying dependents attached to your application. As it relates to the UWI option, the minimum number of persons in an application is 6. It is more affordable the larger the family, the UE option, but in terms of, it just depends on what you're looking for. With the UE option, one of your dependents can also get 1 year free tuition using this particular pathway. And then if you are someone who is really interested in the development of your country of new citizenship, then this is an option that you would choose to assist in ensuring that the university is a sustainable one.
Thank you, Charmaine. There's Kirthley, I want to give you a couple of I think, quick questions just here towards the end from the audience. Jude is asking if you can get visa-free travel to Canada, the US, and Australia with an Antigua and Barbuda passport.
All three countries at the moment, you have to apply to get a visa. So there is no visa free access to any of the 3 countries that you call. So it's not challenging to receive to apply for a visa and receive a visa with the Antigua and Barbuda passport. We have been doing that for years, in particular with the United States as well. So it's just it's a standard procedure for us, and with the Antigua and Barbuda, we just had a client in India who has just received a 10-year passport visa in his Antigua and Barbuda passport from the United States, from India itself. So it's not challenging. But to answer your question directly, all 3 of those countries, Antigua and Barbuda, has passport holders applied for visas.
Okay. And the very last one from Eunice is asking, is there an age limit on educational level threshold in order to apply for second citizenship in Antigua?
And that person must be enrolled in a reputable institution, education institution. So, Charmaine, correct me there. Is it 28 years that student must be?
Yes, 28
Yes.
and under. 28 and under, and enrolled in an institution.
Yes. Okay. So there you are.
Thank you so much for that. I think that was the last question for tonight. We have exceeded the 1 hour allocated time, but I think we had so many good questions submitted in advance and doing the Q&A as well. So I'd like to thank all attendees for submitting the questions, for participating today. I'm just going to announce the results from the last poll we ran, asking why would you be interested in a second citizenship or residency. 56% of all attendees today are looking to obtain second citizenship for visa-free travel purposes, 37% for future relocation, no one for tax purposes, and a few had a few other reasons. So visa-free travel and future relocation is definitely two of the very important factors for the people who have been part of the Q&A today. Charmaine and Kirthley, I would like to thank you a lot for being on the Q&A today. We really appreciate your time. I know your day has just started here in Dubai, it's ending, but thank you so much for taking your time to be part of the Q&A, to ask all the questions from the audience. Same to you, Janice. Thank you for taking your time to be part of the Q&A as well. I know we couldn't get around to answer all the questions today. We will keep them with us, and we will get back to you individually, so we'll make sure we don't leave any stone unturned. So again, thanks to our three panelists. We appreciate your time, and we will see everyone at the next Q&A session.
And thank you very much, Christian, for facilitating this. You are an excellent moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Likewise, Christian. Likewise, thank you so much, and thank you, Janice. Good to see you as always, and thank you, Charmaine. And we'll talk a little bit later. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Kirthley.
Thank you so much for joining.
Okay, no problem. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.